Okay, next, I'd like to introduce Jason Lampley from Intermountain Construction. And Jason is representing ISSA and RAP, and he's going to explain what those acronyms stand for.
John asked me to come speak about quality. I'm a little taller, hang on. So, just a tad. So John asked me to come speak a little bit about quality and the focus from industry. You know, what I hope to do, I mean, we can't fit training into 30 minutes as you guys all know. So following up on the training, it actually fits perfect. So my hope is to give you guys some resources that are out there that are not only just agency and contractors working together, but bigger groups, and give you some options for training. As you know, with quality, a lot of it starts with design and selecting the right treatments. So what I'm going to give you guys today, and this will all be online, so you don't have to jot down a million websites and contacts. I'm going to give you some resources that are going to help you on the design aspect of it, specifications, and also training with regards to inspection. So ISSA is going to be the first association that I'm going to talk about and give you an idea of what they do. And as you'll see, all these kind of fit into the three aspects I was talking about with regards to design, specifications, and inspection. So ISSA, if you're not familiar with ISSA, it's International Slurry Surfacing Association. So they've got over 100 members and representing over 10 countries. So it's very big, and there's a lot of stories to share. There's a lot of learning lessons throughout that expansive of a group. It's made of contractors, suppliers, government agencies. I put this in there because I think it's important that it's $100 annually. They want government agencies to be involved. So they kind of get the economical ride to be a part of this. So it's something to consider if you're not already a member. Equipment manufacturers, academia, and consultants all make up this group. Their focus is promoting pavement preservation, right? So while it's called the Slurry Surfacing Systems Association, we talk chip seals, we talk in place, we talk everything preservation. It just started out as a bunch of slurry contractors, and it's grown into this expansive group of people. So I don't want you to be scared off and think, oh, they're talking a slurry seal. No, there's much more to the picture than the name. So training side of it, they have an annual meeting every year. They get together and they actually have certifications there with Larry and his group as well. It's an expansive, like, I don't know, it's 3 or 4 days. Eric's in here somewhere of this training. And I know many of you have been there, but I can't express enough how in depth that goes into training. I mean, from having hand mixes to look at slurries to going through chip seal best practices to going through design thoughts. It's a really good setup. They do talk a lot of best practices. Technical support with this group is big. We'll have owners that'll come out from agencies, and they'll send a request in and say, hey, I have this job that has gone bad. And they'll go to the technical board, which I'm a part of the technical board, and we've got a big group of that, and they'll look in that region, and they'll send somebody out and say, okay, they're going to come out and give an honest opinion of what happened. How did your project go bad? And I just did one of those in the Bay Area recently. And it's a very good resource for these folks that came out, and they came out with a project, and they really just grabbed whatever spec they could. They didn't look at what the surface would look like in the end, and it didn't meet their expectations because they'd never done it. So we're going and looking at it, walking through it, and certainly there's some construction issues at hand too. And we were able to walk them through and say, hey, truck was moving too fast. You had washboarding. Where's your mix design? Well, we don't have a mix design. You know, who inspected it? Did you get a consulting firm? How did you handle that? Well, we just had this group come out and do it, and they'd never really done slurries before. And so it's a really good resource for us to be able to come in too and say, hey, here's what you should expect. Here's what the contractor, what the job you want, here's what should be done. Here's what you should expect from a punch list, from them to come back and repair it, because this portion where work is unacceptable. Here's an issue where you have sprinklers on it. Obviously, it's all along a golf course right at the day of slurry seal, and so yeah, it's gonna, you lost that area. And we're able to go out and kind of run back through it and put together some forensics and help them move forward with another project. So rather than saying we're throwing it out, they're saying, okay, now we're going to come out with another job, but can you help us on some good specifications and can you look at some of these roads and give us some recommendations? And that's something that we can do as a membership as well. Guidelines and review. A good example is with ODOT. You know, as recently as the last couple of years, we've worked together on a specification that runs through our technical group. They give us, hey, here's our spec. We're starting to look at this product again, and we run it through a group on the technical board, come back through, red line stuff, say, hey, you need to adjust this, you need to adjust that. And it's a group. It's not just an individual doing it. It's people that build the work day in and day out. And that's really your best resource from that end, is when you're working with industry to develop specifications that work, adopt other agencies, whether it's a DOT or a local, to be able to grab their spec. And that's another resource we are, as to say, hey, if you're, city of Kelso up the road here, look at City of Vancouver. They've got a spec. They've got a spec in place. Talk to the engineer. We connect the dots, and really can be a good aid to your design and your build. So I talked about specifications. You can go online. You can get guidelines. These are by no means a finished specification. They're guidelines. They're kind of give you an idea where you're going with it. And if you want a more in-depth, like I said, reach out to the association. This gives you a starting point. We can come back and say, here's a local spec that works, or we can review your spec and get it back to you and show you what's going to work. We can also tell you who the players are going to be. Are you going to have one bidder? Are you going to have 5 bidders? Who's in the game? Another very valuable tool that's offered through ISSA is the inspector's manual. So we talk about training. This is an easy handbook. You're out on a job site, you're doing a slurry seal or a micro, you've got a handbook to show you things to look for. You may not have seen it before, but this is another starting point, a great resource, and it's out there for agencies to grab. So I talked about their workshop, 21st to the 24th, throwing that out there. This will be posted up there again. It's a big turnout of people. I know many of you have been there, many of you support it. If you can get your people there, it's a great training. The next group I want to talk about is more of a long-term vision group with PPRA and their focus, and this kind of goes back to more design and selection, as opposed to a lot of ISSA can be looking at more specification driven, more inspection driven. This is actually kind of going to how you're handling your resources. So they're looking at long-term planning on here, so you can go through and see all the preservation treatments on there and talk about where they should be used, where they shouldn't be used. Kind of like remove subjectivity and treatment determinations, connect funding, network connection, facilitate forecasting of your pavements, and demonstrate network level progress. I mean, that's a lot of stuff that agencies are constantly chasing and trying to find. And it's available and it's there for you. And that's the resource. So last organization I'll talk about is WRAP, which is another acronym here, Western Regional Association for Pavement Preservation. This group is really more designated to Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada is where their strongest presence is, which is nice with this group because it's more of a targeted, with membership, that's where they work. That's what they deal with. They're not necessarily looking at stuff in Florida or in the central states. They're more focused on the West Coast. They can come over to Idaho too, right there. But, so over 30 companies represented, the states I mentioned. It's mainly made up of contractors, suppliers, equipment manufacturers, but it's people that are building the equipment to do the work, supplying the equipment to those states, and all the contractors and suppliers are involved. So they have a lot, they're the stakeholders, right? They have a lot of a stake in the game within these states to make sure projects are built properly, people are trained properly, and they have success, because it's the livelihood of those businesses as well. So you get a good chance to use them as a resource. We come out to projects, take a look at prospective projects, I should say, make recommendations, big training. They do an annual conference, but also we'll do like mini trainings. So typically they've been focused on Caltrans, but now they're moving out into Washington and Oregon. I know Gary's been a part of that stuff in the past, where we're going out and doing the trainings through this group for Caltrans in the different districts. Like I said, we're expanding. We've been in Nevada now and worked with Bill Hoffman at NDOT. And now we're working our way up into the Northwest and looking at doing some training there. Very good group, to be specific to that region on specification development and review. Like I said, site reviews, recommendations. It's a great resource for you to grab a hold of if you're looking at a new process, or you have a problem with an existing process, or you're just looking to start a specification and get it off the ground. they're a good local group that you can work through. Annual workshop there, February 7th, 8th, in San Diego. It's nice down there. I know it's a long ways to travel, but something to take into consideration. And I will open it up to any questions. Hopefully I've armed you with some resources, some training opportunities. Like I said, it'll be on the website. You guys can reach out to me. I'll be here the next couple of days. I sit on the board of every one of those associations that we talked about and then some. And I really, really hope you take the time to reach out and use that resource to help you guys, whether it's an existing program, a new program, or an old program that just needs an update to it. So with that, it's a quick close. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.